Hello everyone, this is Christian Maledexton Interactive, and in this video we are going to focus on dealing with all of the details that are involved when you add or update securities within an account. So updating, of course, pretty straightforward, usually just changing the number of shares. You will be able to create them. Once they're created, we'll make sure that the display is sorted in alphabetical order. We'll also deal with the, if you create one that already exists, then we'll handle just adding the shares together as opposed to adding a second one. We'll also deal with the problem if you transfer a security from one account to another and the account that you are transferring to already has that, and we'll deal with that just adding those shares together. Like I said, that's what we'll focus on in this video. Alright, and of course, as tradition dictates, I want to take a second to thank you for watching the video and for subscribing. And as usual, if you're not a subscriber, I hope that you'll please consider subscribing to the channel. And with that said, let's get started here. So the first thing we're going to do is start in our store constants. So we have to create our constants so that we can specify what the actions and mutations are. So instead of typing these things in, we'll just copy and paste some stuff. So we're trying to add and update an account security. So we have security, account security. I wonder if I put it in the right spot. Whatever. So we're adding an account security. We need the constant for updating. So where are we at? Update. Account security. Actions aren't helpful on their own, so we need the mutations. So we have our constants for adding an account security in the wrong spot. So there's that one, and we need the mutation constant for updating. All right, I think those are in the right spot. So now we have the constants. Let's take a second to go into our, so I was in the store constants file. We go to our account types, and we need to specify what the payloads are going to be for those actions. And we'll start here. So export type, payload, add account security, and it's just an account security model. We'll need the same thing for updating. Account security. Perfect. So now our payloads have been defined. We're going to make a sidetrack here. So inside of our store folder, we have this functions file, and that's what we're looking at here. It's where we have just functions for adding to the store, find all, find by, blah, blah, blah. So one of the ones that the one that we're focusing on now is add. So we'll see why here in a little bit. Here, what I want to do is this function. That function is used to sort items when we add them. It's not a bad thing if for whatever reason you have a fixed or I guess a preferred sorting method. So for like the securities, pretty sure it's a good idea to sort them by the symbol. You could sort by something else as well. Maybe at some point we add the ability to change the sorting. But so far, every time we've added an item, we specify specifically how to sort it when adding. And I want to say that that's sort of conditional. So we may have that function, we may not. So all we'll have to do now is we'll say const items, and those are going to be equal spread on the states items and add the new one. So now what we'll say is that if, or if type of the func is not equal to undefined, then we'll do this, except I will, we'll change this bit here since we're already getting it, items, and then the else just becomes state.items equals items, and we're good to go there. So now into our account module here, also within the store folder, we need to import the constants that we've just added. So action, adding an account security. We have the mutation for adding an account security. Oops, here I am forgetting them. So we have also updating and the mutation to go with that. Mutation, update, account security. We need our payloads. And the other one. Perfect. So for the moment, we're just going to make them sort of as basic as possible. We'll have to do some changing here. So we create another action, V action, where are you at? This one of adding an account security, payload, add account security. All we need to do is commit the mutation of adding an account security and pass the payload on. Same deal for update. So action, update, account security, payload, update, update, account security, and the payload. So those are the actions. Oops. Should be. What is that? Update, account security. Okay. Did that like import something? I don't even know what that was. All right. So now we have the actions. We need the mutations. So mutation. We'll do view mutation, and this one is the mutation for adding an account security. Payload, add account security, store state, account securities, and the payload. So the reason that this is the reason that we changed the add function. The reason being is that so far when we've added something, we have sorted on a scalar property of that item, right? So it's a property that's associated with that item. What I want to sort by is this symbol for the securities. Problem is that an account security has a security which has a symbol. So we'd have to load in all of the securities to all of these account securities in order to do that sort. And I mean, it's possible. You could do it. You could do it in the action. It's not something that it doesn't feel right to do, I guess. So I'm choosing not to do it. But we'll deal with the consequences in a little bit. First thing that we have to do, or next thing we have to do, is deal with updating an account security. So we need another mutation. And what did I say? Updating. Update account security. So payload, update, account security. Perfect. So we have our usual, the state. Store state, and that's the state account security. So we have the right one, and following along basically what we did in the deposit up there. So we do our find by ID, state payload.id. We know we're going to find it because if we don't, we're about to throw an error. And store action validator. File updating. So if security that is undefined, find message security, we pass the payload ID and the index. Perfect. And make sure I don't forget anything. So we have to say that the security dot count ID is equal to the payload ID. Security dot security ID, payload security ID, and we say the shares Again, we've done some sorting when we've updated. We're in the boat of not doing that now, so it's just saying that the items are using the spread on those items. Perfect. So now we save that, and we're able to go out to the view, our account security view, one we're seeing over there, and make use of all of these changes. So let's import some things. We need an account security model. We need the actions. Action. Guess we need the add account security. Action update. Account security. Payload. I like it. Do it a couple times and now it starts to remember what I want. Alright, so I think those take care of it. We'll specify what our actions are. So we have our decorator action. Let's do the add account security. Security, probably should say and account security, but whatever. Function, the payload, add account security, perfect. Action update, read only, update security. Perfect. Payload update. All right, so now if we go and check out our poor little save function with its console log statements, get rid of all of those. So the account security that we need, account security, whoops, model, that import, you know, it auto imports some stuff. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, who knows. So account ID, account ID, we need the actual ID, security ID, and the shares, this dot shares. So I think account security, why are you complaining? Can't find it. It's because it's not plural. Why you make something up? Okay, so now we have that, and of course to know whether we are creating or updating, we just check the ID. So if the ID is 0, then we do add security, that's in the account security, call it a day. Otherwise, and now we're done. Let's save that. Do my refreshing just for good measure. So we have this one, it's 198. Let's make it 250 or something. So, oh, it's always good, which means I've messed something up. Always works so well when you're concentrating on what you're doing other than just having to type it all in. Where you go. Let's see what happened. So if we go to view, Vuex, but I did some stuff, right? So let's do it. Good old refresh again. Let's make it bigger here. See what we can see. So if we go into this one, it's 58. Let's make it 100. So EMBH. Save that. And we've got nothing going on. That's odd, right? Nothing happening. View isn't telling us about anything. Yet, I'm obviously modifying the store somehow, right? That's very, very interesting. Let me cut here and see if I can find out what I did wrong. Lost in translation. I'll be right back. Alright, we're back again here. So I fixed, I think, two things that were weirding me out. Didn't know what was going on. First off, in the inspector here for view, it was on paused, and I should have had it recording. That way that we can see what is going on. So I used it to find out that simple mistake here. So if we go into the code and the account module, I'm setting the account ID equal to the payload ID, which is not correct. Accounts that don't exist should be just set to the account ID. So let's go ahead and save that. Can I put that back where it belongs? So let's see. So we're here. BND has 97. So let's make it 200. Save. Finally. So now we have our 200. Let's create one. Matter of fact, we'll create the only A value 1. Save. Okay. So now our problem exists that, it's not alphabetized, of course. And the other thing that we're going to fix real quick, so let's create, we have BND already there. Let's buy a lot of them. We have that one for 200 up there, and the bottom one for 2,500 down there. We don't want two entries, we just want the one. So let's go ahead and knock those out. Get back to where I should be here. So back to our account module, and if we go to our action for adding. Perfect. Okay. So adding, not an account. Account security. So here, let's get the state. And that's this. State, and which ones? State account securities. Perfect. Let's look for it. See if it exists. So we'll have an account security, and that's state.items.find, and we're going to find the ones that the account ID is equal to the payload.account ID, and the security ID is equal to the payload security ID. Right? So now we have that. So we'll say if type of account security, if that's undefined, so we didn't find one, did not find one, then that should be adding as we've done, right? Otherwise, what we'll do is to say that the payload .id, that's now equal to the account security.id, and we say the payload.shares, take those shares and the account security, the one that exists, shares, and now we just do a mutation of update account security, passing in that payload while we're at it. So that should take care of adding something that already exists. It should add the shares together. Let's deal with alphabetizing. So when we get our account securities, our getter here, what we'll do is another step. We'll just say that sorted is equal to sort and account securities, because at this point we've loaded the security, right? That's what we're doing right here. We're loading the security, so we know that those exist. So security dot not name, symbol. So now they're sorted, and what we'll do then is just return the sorted list instead of the other one. Let's save that. All right. So again, top one is BND. So let's create one that will be above it in alphabetical order. So it's in alphabetical order now. And since we've already created, let's do it again. Let's give them 1,000 this time. All right. So now we have 1,200 of them. So that's working correctly. Now we do have another problem that we're going to have to fix. Is if we go into the other account, so the other account has BNDX for 55 of them. So let's come over here, let's create BNDX, another 55. So it's added in just fine. But let's transfer that to the other account. If we go over and take a look, and we have 2 of them now in that account, which is not, again, the behavior that I'm looking for. So we'll go over to our store constants file, and we're going to need to add a couple more constants to handle this. So let's create an action for removing an account security and its corresponding mutation. So mutation remove. Save that. We'll go to our account types. Saw it in this video already. No reason to keep doing it. So I'll copy and paste. So our payload for removing is still just an account security model. We'll go into our module here. We're actually done with the functions. So let's import that stuff. So we need to action remove an account security, a mutation for removing it, the payload for it, and now we'll just create that one, the action and mutation real quick for those. It's pretty simple. So action, remove an account security, so we just commit mutation, remove, pass the payload, go down to our mutations, put it in right here, mutation, remove, payload, remove, and this one is just, let's see, store state, which one, state account security. The items, those are just going to be store state, state account security, dot items, dot filter, filtering X, and we want the ones where the ID is not equal to the payload ID, and that should be all that we need in order to remove one. Now, the reason we added that is to come up and deal with updating. So we have our update account security here. So let's grab the state again, and that state is account securities. These are supposed to be square brackets. So that's our state. And again, we'll look account security. We're going to look through those items. So state.items.find. Find, please. Find the account. If the account ID is equal to the payload.account ID, so of course the account that we're transferring to, and x.security ID equals payload.security ID. So does the new account that we're transferring to, does it have that security in it? And we'll say if, and we'll do type of account security, if that's not undefined. So it already exists in that account. What we'll do is say, okay, commit and let us do a mutation of removing an account security payload. So right now the payload has the ID from the account security that we're transferring over. So there's a separate one in that new account that has a different ID. So let's just remove the account security with its current ID, the one that's coming from the account. And now we'll say that the payload.id is equal to the account security.id. So now we set the ID equal to the one that exists in the account that we're transferring to. The payload shares are going to be plus, so the shares that are being transferred from and the ones that are being transferred to, shares We have a combination. So now we can just update the payload, which is just setting the shares of the account security that already exists in the account that's being transferred to. We're just updating its shares. A long-winded way of saying that. Hopefully understanding. So BND at 66. That's in the account 2. Don't have a BND, so let's make it 100. So now we have 100 shares in account 1. Let's take that and transfer it to account 2. Take a look at account 2, and now we have 166 shares. So everything's being looks like everything's transferring correctly, and we see in the inspector here that we did we're updating, so we have this mutation. We got to remove the account, or remove this security that had an ID of 17, and we updated the security that has an ID of 12. And so, like I said, everything seems to be working correctly. And not so fast there. Of course, future me has found a bug before, or I guess after a recording there, and before doing the intro for everything. And the problem that we have is that, so in our updating of an account security, so if we're in the account and we click on one that exists here, let's increase the shares, save, everything blows up. And the reason that it's blowing up is telling us that it can't find a security with the ID that it wants. And the problem is that what we're doing is looking for this account security. If we find it, we are removing it. Okay, so right now we're just looking to see if one exists that matches the account ID and the security ID, which is deleting the one that we're trying to update. So what we only want to delete is when we're transferring from one account to another. And the way that I'm just going to check that, I think, is just to say that we also want to check that the account security that we found, its ID is not equal to the payload.id. So it's not the same one. Let's go ahead and save that. And so we have this one with L-core with 710 now instead of 71. So we save that. We can see that it now has the correct updating, and we can still, of course, transfer everything. Everything else should still be working correctly. So I think now we can go back to finishing up the video. So yeah, I think we're able to add and update account securities now. So what do we turn to next? I am not sure. Guess we'll have to wait and see in the next video. But until then, I will talk to you later. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.